How does depending less on weed make your relationships stronger? So heavy marijuana use can actually impair your cognitive ability. It can actually make it difficult for you to communicate effectively with others. We all know, and if you're a heavy user or if you've ever been too high, you know that there gets to a point where you don't really have words or you're not really comprehensive with what you're trying to say. It's very hard for people to understand you, especially if you're like blasted out of your mind. So what's the issue here, right? In terms of relationship, this can lead to conflicts and misunderstandings. If you're texting your spouse or relationship person weird shit when you're high, there's going to be a lot of misunderstandings, right? Or maybe you're like paranoid and you're reading too far into something and it's not really there. You're making it a bigger deal than it has to be. So there can be more misunderstandings in your life and more complications with your friends, with your family, and that can strain your relationship and it can make it difficult for you to connect with the people that you love and care about. Now, another reason how it can affect your relationship is when you're heavily using marijuana, it actually changes your mood and behavior. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of us will consume is when we're not feeling the best because we want to feel better. So we know that it changes your mood, and of course it changes the way you behave because your mood dictates the things you do. So how can this be a negative though? When you're doing it too often, what happens is it can affect the way that other people perceive you. If you're high all the time, all people see of you is this high version of you, and that's what they interact with. So if you're frequently high and stoned all the time, you could be perceived as someone like he's unreliable, unpredictable, he's always high, he smells like weed, we don't want him around, right? And that can make it difficult for people to rely on you, for people to trust you, and that could really make the relationships in your life very sucky. And this can lead to conflict and distance in your relationships. So here's the thing, I'm not saying weed is bad here. I'm talking about what happens when you're really dependent on weed and how life can be better if you depended less. So on the other hand, when you're not dependent on weed, you're able to think and communicate more clearly, which can actually improve your ability to connect with other people. You can be fully present. You can actually be there in front of them. You're not high and in some altered state of mind, right? It can actually help you develop a stronger and more positive relationship with your friends and family. And that can lead to increased trust. It can make your life better because you understand each other better and the quality of your life goes up. So overall, breaking free from weed dependency, it can have a number of positive effects on your relationships, including improving your communication, increasing the trust that you build within your relationships, and you have stronger communication with the people that you care about. And communication is incredibly important in relationships. So something for you to consider if you find yourself dependent on weed and it's not really helpful and you wonder what life would be like without that dependency. Put your thoughts in the comments. Would love to hear what people's perspective is on overuse of weed and how it affects their relationships in life. My personal beliefs about weed is that it's completely safe in moderation, but I also have to add it is never safe for a child, someone under the age of 21 years old, to consume weed. I know many of you do. I communicate with a lot of you in our comment section. I hear from you, but you have to understand you're not gonna stop. I get it, but at the same time, you do understand that there's a higher risk that you're taking at the earlier age that you're starting.